sekarang mempunyai lebih 53% under forest reserve. And kita punya forest is well protected dan kita punya conservation is, if not the best, one of the best in the world.
Having sound conservation policies and plans is one thing, but the resolve and seriousness to implement programs in accordance to such plans effectively on the ground is quite another matter. Fortunately, for this Malaysian state of Sabah on Borneo Island, things are moving and moving in the right direction. The government is fully aware of the massive task at hand, for much of the forests are degraded due to poor logging practices or devastated by fires in the past. Restoration and rehabilitation operations are massive and costly, yet they are a must for the sake of a brighter future for Sabah, for her people in generations to come, and for the love of Mother Earth.
Forest rehabilitation is one of the main agendas for Sabah. As part of efforts to ensure sustainability of forest resources and increase its capacity for carbon sequestration, as carbon emission is one of the main causes of global climate changes. Planting more trees will help in absorbing this greenhouse gas.
Malaysia made a commitment at the 15th Conference of Parties to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change at Copenhagen in December 2009. The commitment was to reduce its carbon intensity by up to 40% by the year 2020, as compared to the 2005 levels, and to plant 26 million trees throughout the nation. The state of Sabah is actively involved in this nationwide campaign initiated by the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment in April 2010, in commemorating Earth Day. Since then, a total of 2,626 trees have been planted throughout Sabah. In October 2010, the government also welcomed and supported a corporate body in Malaysia, the Standard Chartered Bank, in the planting of 1,000 trees at the Kebun Cina Forest Reserve, located near the city of Sandakan. This was carried out as part of the bank's Green Fingers Eco Project to combat climate change and environmental degradation. Participated by students from 4 secondary schools in the district, the junior rangers from the Sabah Forestry Department, students from the Institute for Industrial Training, as well as the Girl Guides.
Thank you very much, Yang Amat Terhormat Datuk Seri.
The Sabah state government has for the past 2 decades taken firm actions on the ground to address issues related to climate change and in promoting carbon sequestration. This took the form of a joint venture project between the FACE Foundation of the Netherlands with Innoprise Corporation Sdn Bhd, the investment arm of the Sabah Foundation or Yayasan Sabah. This project is known as the Face the Future or Infapro project.
The main objective of this Infapro project is to offset carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And once the project is being certified, then of course FACE Foundations can sell carbon. And our area is basically it's about 25,000 hectares. It's look like this. And then we've started in 1990. And so far we are already in contract 6. And we already rehabilitate about 11,000 hectares. Means almost halfway.
The various activities of the Infapro program are designed to restore logged forests with the aim of boosting carbon dioxide capture during the forest regeneration process.
But the main reason that we are doing this project is actually because of the carbon. Carbon dioxide is a problem because there's too much of it in the atmosphere, causing climate change. And forests play a very important role in this. They take up carbon, sequester the carbon, and store it in the biomass. Now, if you rehabilitate forests, it means that you enable the conditions for the forest to grow and to sequester carbon dioxide from the atmosphere.
Working in close collaboration with its foreign partner on this venture, the management and staff of Yayasan Sabah take great pains to ensure that this artist's task of forest rehabilitation is conducted properly and precisely at ground level. Firstly, there's the production of seedlings, the careful selection and preparation of indigenous tree species for field planting. Then there is the survey of compartments with compassing, marking with sticks and color ribbons, the placing of sticks on actual locations where seedlings could be planted and where it should be avoided.
We cut those climbers in order to release the potential crop trees, especially those from diprocarps, non-diprocarps with commercial value. We have to indicate in every point, every planting points with stick without ribbons, telling you that point is plantable. After planting, we have to put a 2-stick or double stick from the back, from in front, to protect the planted seedling from being cut by the maintenance crew.
Among the fruits of the Infapro program is that within a few years, the young trees planted begin to form a rudimentary canopy that shades out the weeds beneath and provides a favorable habitat for other plants and animals.
The Yayasan Sabah group provides for people to do the actual project implementation. Each time when I visit the project, I'm really impressed by their motivation, their attitude toward forest rehabilitation. We are really very happy with the cooperation that we have with the Yayasan Sabah group, especially with the people who are they're doing all this manual labor, because each seedling is, we don't use machines, so it's all planted manually, and tree by tree by tree, and then for many hectares they are doing this, and with their work they're contributing to actually mitigating climate change, and that's a very good thing.
In 2008, the Sabah state government endorsed a memorandum of understanding with the New Forests Private Limited that paved the way for the development of a wildlife habitat conservation bank in the Malawa Forest Reserve, known as the Malawa Biobank. This partnership is reflective of the state government's success in finding new and innovative approaches to the conservation of Borneo's rainforests in Sabah. A specialized fund shall invest $10 million to rehabilitate the Malawa Forest Reserve and receive the right to create and market biodiversity conservation certificates to third parties around the world. In Sabah, the number of conservation areas, forest reserves and protected areas has remained stable for the last 25 years in terms of total size, and these areas cover all categories of natural habitats. In recent years, new forest reserves have been established. In 1981, the Sabah Foundation Group agreed to designate the Danum Valley and the Maliao Basin as conservation areas. The group did the same for the 25-kilometer-long Imbak Canyon, a sweeping swath of unspoiled forest, in the year 2003. The Maliao Basin is one of the greatest wilderness areas on Earth. The government has nominated it to be a Natural World Heritage Site. Whether from the air or on the ground, the view of this pristine natural treasure house is indeed most spectacular. The Danum Valley Conservation Area, on the other hand, has over 43,800 hectares of primary dipterocarp forest. On the edge of this area is the Danum Valley Field Center, a world-renowned scientific facility set up in 1986 for the purposes of research, education, and wilderness recreation.
The Royal Society Southeast Asia Rainforest Research Programme has been at Danum Valley Field Centre since it was created in 1985, when we were invited by Yayasan Sabah. Our prime purpose at that time, in the early days, was to provide advice on how to log and later to restore forest so as to reduce ecological and erosional impacts and to promote as good forest regrowth for timber and for conservation as possible. Later phases of the programme, so after the first 5 or 10 years, where then the focus moved to how to restore forests, and then on to the impacts of global warming and climatic change. Current and future kind of programme, then our emphasis is changing again, so as to contribute the science that will lie behind the various measures which the Sabah Forest Department and Sabah government are adopting in response to the REDD and REDD Plus initiatives of the Copenhagen process. We're providing science which is not just useful in Sabah, but it's very important in Sabah, but is going to be very useful across the global tropics.
The Danum Valley Conservation Area is truly in the very top league of research stations in the humid tropics. Among the many global organizations that have contributed immensely towards research on conservation and sustainable management of rainforests and biodiversity in Sabah is the Royal Society, the Academy of Science of the United Kingdom. The Royal Society has completed 25 years of collaborative program with key local partners in the States such as the Sabah Foundation, the Sabah Forestry Department, and the Danum Valley and the Malayau Basin Management Committees.
The work being done at Danum is respected throughout the world. This meeting had about 800 scientists interested in working in tropical biology, and they all said just what a wonderful example the work at Danum is. And of course it's really working for the future too. Can we replant forests? Forests are important. Can we replant them? Is there a way that we can get back the biodiversity and the ecosystem services that the forest provides?
Professor Lorna Castleton was in Sabah in July 2010 to formally enter into an agreement with the Danum Valley Management Committee to continue with its research and training program at the Danum Research Center for another 5 years. Among other international bodies is LEAP, initials that stand for Land, Empowerment, Animals and People. It is an agency that seeks to discover new ways to have an ecological coexistence with communities, government, civil society, and industry.
In LEAP, what we do is we build partnerships and collaborations, and the idea is to balance the needs of all. What we do is we work within the divides, we work within the gaps, and we bridge between groups that are traditionally fragmented or isolated from each other. The main purpose of doing that and the main intention of doing that is to facilitate new conversations to happen that haven't happened before. And in those new conversations, new understanding can be built, and we can come to new solutions together, and for the purpose of serving the greater good of land, animals, and people.
The focus of LEAP's work in Southeast Asia is on Borneo, holding on to its premise that the new solutions for change could only be found in engagement and collaboration with each other. Water, a precious natural resource. It is part and parcel of Mother Nature. Water provides the all-important lifeline for all living creatures on Earth, those in the wild, as well as human communities along riverbanks and those dwelling further inland. Hence, the management of water resource in a sustainable way is of vital importance to the livelihood and the very survival of all. Cities and towns are expanding, converting rural areas into streets, housing, offices, and factories. Such land changes have serious consequences to the quantity and quality of water. The government recognizes that firm action is needed to address these challenges of growth and development. it is imperative that water resources are managed in a sustainable manner. In order to ensure that there would be enough water available to meet the needs of the state without causing any serious damage to the natural environment, Sabah has in place the Water Resources Management Plan. Sabah has learned many lessons in nature conservation. The state has learned that the most effective means of meaningful conservation in a particular region is through habitat conservation. Natural habitats such as coral reefs and tropical rainforests are constantly under threat of destruction as a result of population growth and human activities. Hence, the state government has earmarked special areas and sites for specific protection. For instance, it has become vitally essential to limit the number of visitors to places like the Sipadan Island and other islands in the Tun Sakaran Marine Park in the Sampurna district. This is done to ensure that these ideal natural habitats for marine life are well guarded from danger of destruction or damage. The Bornean rhinoceros, a subspecies of the Sumatran rhinoceros, is one of the world's most endangered mammals. Conservationists believe that without human intervention, this animal will become extinct. The Sabah state government is therefore making serious efforts to address this issue of the rapidly dwindling number of rhino population.
At the moment, we reckon that less than 50 of them still occurring in the state. So all those doomed individuals will be collected, placed in a special area in Tabin Wildlife Reserve, and we will undertake a captive breeding program in semi-captivity type of environment in Tabin. And we are determined to do this captive breeding. Hopefully, with this last attempt, we could save this species from extinction.
In the last decade or so, there has been a major transformation of the landscape in the state of Sabah. One such prominent change is the emergence of large-scale oil palm plantations.
We see that there had been numerous habitat fragmentation, and this has resulted into human-animal conflict. We have formed a rescue unit, and we have rescued a lot of species of wildlife in the state. Examples are elephants, stranded orangutans in pocketed in the forest. We have this bear caught by people and kept as pets, and a lot other wild animal that has been displaced by this habitat fragmentation. And we found out that these elephants, they are either displaced because of the habitat fragmentation, or they have been injured in their body. So before we could release them to the wild, of course, our task would be to catch them, capture them. When they are injured, then we will medicate them. We will make sure that they are healthy before they are being released. And for the healthy animals of the elephants, we will try to study them through research by putting collars in their neck so that we can monitor their movement, and also monitor their whereabouts in a new area that we translocate them.
A conservation program at the Turtle Islands Park, 40 kilometers off the coast from the city of Sandakan, started shortly after the passing of the Fauna Conservation Ordinance in 1963. The first turtle hatchery in Malaysia was set up on Pulau Selingan, one of the 3 small islands at the park, in 1966. The other 2 islands are the Gulisan and Bakungan Kecil. These islands at the park are a safe haven for the endangered green and hawksbill turtles that come ashore each night to lay their eggs. Sabah Park rangers collect the eggs and place them at the hatchery. Incubation takes 50 to 60 days. Baby turtles from the hatcheries on all 3 islands are released into the sea. The Sabah Environmental Education Policy that aims to enhance environmental communication, education and awareness has become a platform for training of environmental education practitioners in the state. The Sabah minister responsible for environment has this message on the urgent need to educate everyone on conservation of environment, starting from the young.
The future of this world, in fact, the future of our country lies with the future generations. It is important that we have a generation that understand nature, who not only understand what conservation is all about, but they themselves will grow up being a passionate Malaysians who want to conserve. And for that reason, we hope that conservation will be a very, very important subject in schools. We need to educate our children right from the kindergarten why we need to conserve, why we need to look after Mother Earth. So you see, really, it's for us to decide. We need to educate people so that they will continue to live in a very, very, very pleasant atmosphere, in a present state of affairs that we are enjoying now.
Among its hosts of programs and activities that the department carries out in the state, jointly with other bodies, is the National Environment Friendly School program called Sekolah Lestari that promotes environmental awareness and actions among students. Environmental information disseminated by the Environment Protection Department includes that on open burning, palm oil regulation, composting, smoke level from vehicles, and others. The Sabah Forestry Department developed a management system aimed at generating sustainable production of timber from the state's logged forest lands. Daramakot has proven over the years to be an outstanding example of a tropical forest area that can produce timber in a profitable and yet sustainable manner.
Daramakot is only a model. This model will only work if it is made to multiply. Daramakot is the mother of sustainable forest management in Sabah, if not in this country. With the support and approval of the state government, we've been able to multiply this concept to other areas. For example, Ulusugama Malwa, which is perhaps the largest great ape survival project in the world, which is being used as a model, which covers about 250,000 hectares of lowland forests, with very, very rich biodiversity. Perhaps arguably the richest area in the whole island of Borneo as far as biodiversity is concerned, particularly wildlife. And we're very proud of our achievements, and we believe we are going on the right track. We got a simple plan that works.
Indeed, the Daramakot model of sustainable forest management has been acclaimed by many local, national, as well as international observers.
After we spent 7 years, we found that these biological communities in Daramakot are very well preserved. There is no doubt that this is due to the application of sustainable forest management. And in that sense, Daramakot is a truly model case, not only for sustained yield of timber, but in the conservation of biological components. There is no doubt this is a great success, and I like to congratulate the Sabah Forestry Department for maintaining such a wonderful forest and applying ecologically friendly harvesting methods, management methods. And I do hope that Sabah Forestry Department can extend the same methods to other forest management units, or even they can tell other countries how to manage forests sustainably based on their experience. This is a model system that Sabah government can be proud of it.
The Sabah state government's policies and plans on conservation, accompanied by a wide-ranging agenda for action, are slowly producing positive results on the ground. Sabah has indeed become a shining example of a state in Malaysia that has taken seriously and put into practice on the ground the Agenda 21 of the Rio Earth Summit in June 1992. It was a commitment to sustainable development agreed by many of the world's governments at that summit, including Malaysia. What the state of Sabah has done is a true reflection of the declaration of the Rio Earth Summit that in part states that the right to development must be fulfilled so as to equitably meet development and environmental needs of present and future generations.